Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin Show, episode 16. Yes, we've been doing this for 16 weeks. Today is July the 21st, 2018. Strong hand. Conviction. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture. All right, everyone. Watch yesterday's show, This Week in Bitcoin. It was a blast. Check out the links below. DisruptMeister.com will get you all of the shows I've ever done. All over 1,000 Bitcoin-related shows are out there that I've been involved with. So check out the links below. Get your t-shirts from Cryptograffiti, your Trezor, your Ledger Nano at cryptohwallet.com. I got a separate Trezor link down there. You need yourself some storage devices. First off, let's go back to last week's Beyond Bitcoin show. And I could not remember the word fiber. Yes, fruit has a lot of fiber in it. Thus, you don't get that sugar hit. You know, people try to compare fruit to candy bars. No, there's no comparison. Fruit is natural. It's got fiber in it. Candy, if you don't get it, then I don't know what to say. Enjoy your diabetes, I guess. All right. Here is something, a review of a book. Well, first of all, MGTOW Money, he recommended a book called Goodbye Things, The New Japanese Minimalism, by Fumio Sasaki. Now, I didn't read the book. I linked to a post that mentions the book. I read some descriptions of the book. And it was, I like minimalism. And I wanted to find out what this Japanese minimalism was all about, what this dude was all about. One thing that this guy recommended, well, obviously he recommends not having very many possessions. But if there's a possession that you feel an emotional attachment to, you have a hard time getting rid of, take a photo of it. And when you look back on that photo of it, you kind of get the same emotion of just as if you still had the possession. And it actually made me think of a possession that I once had, that I had a hard time giving up. As many of you know who have watched this show for a while, my family used to have a vending business. It was actually both sides of my family. My grandfather and my father and my uncle, my grandmother all worked at the vending business. So there were soda machines, candy machines. And I didn't drink any soda, which is amazing. And cigarette machines and arcade machines back in the day too. And my family, through all the years, when arcades were not as popular, they held on to an arcade machine. So as a young guy, we had an arcade in my house. We had a Junior Pac-Man machine, and so there weren't who had an arcade in the modern. I mean, now people, all you play your games on computers. You don't need a big arcade. You don't need a big machine, the big Pac-Man machine. So it was this novelty item that my family had. I had my own place, my legendary party house in Reservoir Hill. My family did not want this arcade. No one in my family wanted this thing anymore. It was a hassle. It kept breaking. It was broken for years at a time at a point. And I took the arcade. I paid for it to be fixed. And again, it would break. It'd be a pain. And eventually it was just sitting there. Again, at my party house. Again, don't value your wealth in women. But when I was valuing my wealth in partying and women and stuff, we were having a great time with it. And but it would break. And then again, I had to leave that house. I had to sell eventually because I was about to go on my Bitcoin journey. And so it was hard to get rid of Junior Pac-Man. Junior Pac-Man, Adam Meister and Junior Pac-Man, they went together. But I got rid of it. It was broken. I couldn't stand fixing it anyway. But now, to make a long story short, I look back at the pictures of Junior Pac-Man, and I get the same feeling as if Junior Pac-Man were right here with me in Edmonton in this Airbnb. I don't need you. Who the heck can carry around that darn thing with you all around the world? Who the heck can maintain a thing that keeps on breaking? It's all the memories, all the fun times of as a kid playing it, and the remembering my dad with it and my mom, and remembering the parties when I was a grown up with it and everything. So the picture brings back to, so those of you who have cherished items, supposedly, take a picture of it. It's the same thing. In the long run, it really is. I am so glad I don't have that thing anymore. I can look at the picture, it brings back all the memories. Pound that freaking like button for that opening thing, because that's going to save you a lot of money. Seriously, experiment with it. Take pictures of things you give away that you can't have anymore because they just take up too much room. They take up too much money. I mean, to maintain that thing would have been ludicrous. And I sold him too. I sold Junior Pac-Man. I got some money off the whole darn thing too. But the pictures are good. The pictures are good. And the memories are very good. And I don't have to have it. All right. So where is this here? Okay. Morton. Well, I'm not supposed to say his name. Let's just say his name's Morton. That's a fake name. He's a Norwegian guy. And he is in Malaysia. And he sends me a very interesting, because everyone out there likes to talk about how Norwegian and Scandinavian socialism, how successful it is. And then you hear people like Yaron Brook, who we'll talk about in a second, say it's not very successful. Well, why don't we hear it from the horse's mouth? So I told you about this dude before, how he had enough of Norway, and he's going to work in Malaysia. So you don't think about Malaysia. You think about Malaysia and Norway, totally different type of countries. Totally different type of countries. The type of people from Malaysia you think want to come to the West. And usually it's from poorer countries than Malaysia that want to come to the West. So he says, "Hi, Adam, visiting Kuala Lumpur." And Kuala Lumpur is a huge, great, big city. It's a lot different from most of Malaysia, I guess, which is another good point to make here. But the point is this. "Hi, Adam, visiting Kuala Lumpur now before the move. Being a producer of real value, I'll have approximately 200% of the buying power as I did in Norway. After all, a welfare state is only a redistribution system. It doesn't create value in itself, and hence it will parasite on the productive," he's talking about Norway, "in favor of the unproductive. Should be common logic. Money doesn't pop up from nowhere. I know you know, but felt like stating this." Well, dude, thank you for stating this. Thank you for showing the world that you're not just going to sit there and let the Norwegian government take half your money and let, the tourists enjoy them. Hey, man, I got to say, it's enjoyable visiting Norway because they have right now the roads are great. But you can also see there's a lot of people coming to Norway just to not work. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you're walking around. But Norway is not as bad as Sweden is at this point. But anyway, instead, this dude could complain and complain and complain and see all his money disappear in Norway, or he could move to Malaysia and just live twice the rich type of life. 200% is money. I'll have approximately 200% the buying power as I did in Norway. All right, so a lot of people like to say that we're in a civil war here in the West. And you know what? This is not a civil war. I think, and I've stated this before, I think the complainers are just louder. And I think the media is giving the people yelling and screaming about socialism a lot more attention. And there's a lot more obsession with the media in the government and who's in charge and the deplorables. And I think the media is probably scared. They're as scared as ever about losing their jobs and losing their status. So I think they're inflaming people. Just their coverage is inflammatory of what is going on. But because of Bitcoin and because of the internet, the 20%ers can ignore and boycott the mainstream so much easier than ever before. We can peacefully opt out and enjoy success. So I wouldn't call that like a war here. And again, the cultural insanity, what is considered normal by the mainstream, it seems pretty ridiculous if you are a logical thinker. But that doesn't mean that all the logical thinkers are about to go to war and we'll start shooting. And no, yeah, I think the leeches of society are more emotional, and probably they're a bit more violent unto each other. But again, you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff at all. Bitcoin gives us we're in our own overlay. And also the internet gives us the freedom. We don't have to pay attention to the mainstream whatsoever. We create our own media. I mean, again, instead of like fearing, oh, there's going to be a civil war, better prep, no, just say, hey, I'm going to be productive. I'm going to create my own business out here. I'm going to network with my own Bitcoin people. I'm going to travel around, meet people in Norway who want to leave Norway, who are not just sitting there. You can have that sitting duck mentality, just waiting for the end, or you can have the mentality of where you're an individual. You're not going to let any group dictate the way things are supposed to be, and you're going to go your own way. Again, individualism. Collectivism is the default. And I think it's becoming more and more apparent to the smart people that collectivism is the default. And perhaps some of you find that depressing. I find it exhilarating because I understand that individualism is the accomplishment. And the more individualistic I am, the happier I am. The more I teach people about being individualistic, getting into Bitcoin, not worrying about this nonsense, not fretting over what the media is focusing on, fixated on now, the happier I am, the more productive I am. All right. So no, I don't think there's a civil war. Don't think there's anything to worry about if you're productive. And just, we have the freedom with Bitcoin, with knowledge, with the internet to just leave all that stuff in the dust. Let them have their own civil war or whatever they want to call it. Okay. And so here's another thing, though, that I think some of the smart people are a little confused. I think there's smart people out there, the Ben Shapiro types almost, that think they're going to convert the 80%ers into smart people, into logical people. Okay, that there's just going to be this logical revolution, and people are all of a sudden going to the mainstream is going to be intelligent. It's not going to be about bread and circus. It's going to be about intelligence and reason and evidence for everyone, not just the 20, but for everyone. So yes, some people say that long form, and this is manifested in this simple example here. Some people say that long form interviews are going to destroy TV. Okay? No, that's not what's going on. It's smart people are tired of TV and are now making YouTube videos that they like. And it's like long form, informative type of stuff. 80%ers are not getting on board with that at all. They still have the short little mindless TV shows, internet. I mean, the mindless internet YouTube shows have increased exponentially. I mean, there are more of them than ever also. Maybe TV is probably a dying format. It's probably not going to be as popular as it once was, but that doesn't mean that the kind of nonsense you had on TV isn't going to be on the internet. And all of a sudden, everyone's going to like long form interviews with Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and all these, and Stefan Molyneux and all these intellectuals. No, they're not. No, they're going to like the Kardashians forever. That's their thing, okay? So if you can waste your time trying to convince the Kardashian fans to be Jordan Peterson fans. That's not very productive. That is not very productive at all. A better thing is you networking with other 20%ers, telling them about the Jordan Petersons of the world, the Ben Shapiros of the world, whoever of the world that produces productive, intelligent videos, and you yourself consuming more and more of these long form interviews and appreciating them. And just because in this era, 20%ers have the opportunity. We have no excuses anymore. We have the internet, we have Bitcoin. We can create smart things for smart people and meet smart people, whether it be in person or online, and do smart things. So no, the 80%ers aren't about to become, I mean, maybe there'll be some the the line between 20 percenters and 80 percenters isn't that clear. There's a little bit of overlap there, but certain 80 percenters, it's impossible. But it's good that we have this freedom, but it doesn't mean that everyone will like it. And mindlessness and 80 percenters will still dominate the mainstream. And that's what mainstream society is all about. That's what conforming is about. That's what collectivism is about. They're going to be the majority, but we can be in this 20% Bitcoin overlay and just be so productive, do our own thing, live in our own realm, go to Mars, Venus, wherever, and we have the freedom to ignore all the nonsense that's out there. That is really a great place to be. When you can realize that you don't have to fit in with them, you can ignore them, and you can be productive in your own realm. Pound that freaking like button. All right, speaking of smart long-form video type of dudes, a guy I've mentioned before, Yaron Brook, he has a video, The Morality of Finance. And he talks about how important financiers are and how they're always vilified. And that's a good video. It's a good video. I linked to it below. Everything I talk about is linked to below. That Japanese thing is linked to below. Yaron Brook is linked to below. There's another Yaron Brook video that I just watched today. It's very inspirational. And I don't agree with everything that he necessarily says in it, but that's part of the thing. When you're when you're watching intellectual videos and you're thinking about, you're not going to agree with everything. You're not going to be mindlessly like, oh, this guy's 100% right, must worship him. No, you're going to take what you know to be right and you're going to learn from it and you're going to extrapolate upon that. But he has a video and it's very inspirational. And it's basically saying that, again, that he's telling young people to go their own way. That's the major message from it, okay? But I'm saying you don't have to be young to go. It's never too old. You're never too old to go your own way. You don't have to follow what the collective says. And maybe some things that the collective that you're a part, you were born in, maybe some things are right. You just got to learn it on your own. What's right, what's wrong, what's for you. And you create your own path. And then you're just a totally original person, that's what everyone is. I believe everyone has it in them to be an original type of person. But again, the default is collectivism. So most people take the easy way and are just like a cookie cutter type, want to be a cookie cutter type of person that fits in there. And again, 20 percenters are individualistic. They don't need to be part of a collective that does things the same way. The 20% is made up of all sorts of brave individuals doing things their own way. Now, again, not all 20 percenters are individualistic, though. There are going to be some that are part of groups, I guess. But again, the 20%, they definitely favor individualism, the majority of them. The 80% of the 20%, I don't know. Now I'm getting screwing all sorts of numbers into one big number there. You guys get my point. If you're individualistic, you don't need to be fit. You don't need to fit in. You have a certain level of bravery, but you don't have to fit into the machine. You don't have to conform. So watch Yaron Brook's both his videos, but that one it will be inspirational to some of you. And again, you don't have to be young to go. You could be 79 years old and decide to go your own way. Or something that a new saying I'm going to start to use: Bitcoin. This game is not rigged. Because we have all these people out there who complain, who scream about how the system is rigged. Okay, if the system is rigged, then get into a system that's not rigged, which is Bitcoin. Okay, you could complain and scream and be a no-coiner and sit around doing nothing, yelling and complaining about how everything is rigged, or you can enter the game where the big boys play, Bitcoin, because it is not rigged. It is not, that I can tell you. Bitcoin is not rigged. It's laid out there all on the table, what it's going to be, 21 million ever, halving every 4 years. This game is not rigged. Pound that like button. So I have been enjoying my time in Edmonton very much. I've been running quite a bit. I've gone south, I've gone west, no, I haven't gone west that much, but I've gone east. I've gone a little bit, and north. And I got to say, this town reminds me of Austin, Texas. Now, Austin is the capital of Texas. Edmonton is the capital of Alberta. Alberta is kind of known as the Texas of Canada. It's a big oil industry. But even the Capitol building here in Edmonton reminded me of the Capitol building in Austin. It's a little quirky here like Austin. So, I mean, why not make this place a tech hub, you Canadians? Edmonton is the Austin of Canada. So has anyone else out there been to Austin and Edmonton? My buddy over at forkdrop.io agreed with me, by the way. He's from Britain originally, but he's been to Edmonton and Austin. He saw the similarities. I don't know how many of my fellow Americans watching this, though, have been to both Austin and Edmonton. And in fact, so many Americans are I know the people watching this are a little bit more proactive than the average Americans, but the average American, they don't leave their own state. So most of them haven't been to Austin either, let alone Edmonton. But yeah, speak up, people who've been to both Edmonton and Austin and think they're similar. Now, again, I haven't seen Edmonton in the dead of winter, and I'm not going to see Edmonton in the dead of winter. I've been in Austin. It was October, so it was warm. It was like the same temperature it is here now. It was warmer in Austin in October than it is right now. There was a heat wave here in Edmonton. It's just cooled down. Okay, last show, I forgot to mention the following. And I actually had it in the notes, but I skipped over it because I was going so fast. This is about the people who complain that the elites have some sort of magical powers and they pass on their wealth and their kids are going to, control the world. Well, guess what? In reality, they don't have any magical powers, and their kids often don't have any long-term thinking whatsoever. And this is a lesson in things changing. This is a Stefan Molyneux video. 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation. So you've got dudes who have built up their wealth, have become multimillionaires. Then they have these kids, and their kids blow all the money, and their kids end up poor. And again, another thing that might happen is their kids might not end up poor, but they might have 3 kids, and then their 3 kids end up with a total of 7 kids. So you have 7 grandkids. The 7 grandkids have to split up all the money. There's not even that much money left. Most of the 7 grandkids might not be good long-term thinkers. They blow all their money. So don't think that it's magic. Don't think it sticks with if you see generational wealth being passed on again and again, it's not luck, dudes. They're smart. They're teaching their kids to be disciplined. Their genes are being passed on properly. They're not spoiled brats. And so most of the time, those 70% of the time, they do lose it all by the grandchildren of the children generation. And that money is redistributed to the world. So they're not hoarding it. You have an opportunity to get it. Okay? So again, don't be jealous. Don't be a hater. Aim to be them. And then once you're them, teach your children well. Okay? Teach your children well, or because it's not easy. They can blow it and become cokeheads and just living in the gutter. But no one is immune to blowing their money if they have no long-term thinking whatsoever. Self-discipline. Do not be impulsive, even if you're even if you're a senator's son, as they say. Okay. What else? I don't want to skip that. So that was about the elites. Oh yeah, minimizing commitments and MGTOW. As someone mentioned that if you're a guy that goes your own way, you got to minimize commitments. And on a certain level, I think that's right. In terms of don't have debts, that's a commitment. Don't have a mortgage, that's a commitment. If you're not going to get married, don't get married. There's a commitment right there. The less commitments you have, the less likely you're going to lose your freedom. You're going to lose your money. There are certain commitments that might be productive ones. But again, minimizing commitments is definitely maximizing your freedom on a certain level there. So another thing these certain MGTOW dudes like to say is the red pill rage. you know what? And what it is that when certain men learn that they've been duped, basically, they get angry, like they've been living like, oh my God, I didn't understand if I got married and have kids that the wife could take all my money, could take my kids, and I'd have nothing. I didn't realize, and then I was just being used as a tool by this. The woman didn't love me. She was just using me for my money, or, you know, for me to impregnate her and then to leave me. And that men have this red pill rage, and they keep this rage in them. Okay, dudes, you know what? I think we should call it the red pill, like regrets. You have initial regrets when you learn that, hey, you know, what I spent 10 years trying to do, I shouldn't have been doing it that way. But you know what? I can do it. I'm going to learn from that. I'm not going to be angry. Here, I'll punch a wall now. Look, there's my red pill rage. Now I'm going to move on with my life. And again, be productive. For all you guys out there who say they go, like the Sandman guy says he sometimes returns to his red pill rage. No, come on, man. You got to get over it. You got to be productive. If a woman took from you, if you're divorced, you got to move on. You got to make the most of the situation. You don't even have regrets. Have some initial regrets, but then you learn from those mistakes. You can't keep on getting angry about it and it's not necessary to go through a long period of anger either. That's not very healthy. Having to go through a period of learning about. So I don't like that term red pill rage at all. You know what? You know, you realize that, oh, I thought I loved that woman. You know, when I look back in certain relationships that I had with women in the past, and I see them totally different now. Could I be angry about some of the things that I've figured out that might have been happening to me back then? Sure, I could be angry. Or I could be like, okay, I'm going to do things differently now. I'm not going to get into those situations. And I know how to handle such situations now. I'm a better man. There you go. That's what I do. It's not rage, it's learning. All right, so let's see what else here. Long-term thinking and personal responsibility combined. Oh yeah, here. A problem anticipated is not a problem. It's an opportunity. So yeah, that's long-term thinking and personal responsibility combined. You think, you try to anticipate situations that are going to be problematic so that when they come around, you can handle them, and they're opportunities. They're opportunities. So apply that to your life. Try to think ahead, try to think long-term, and, you know, problems that might arise and how you can take advantage of those situations when those problems arise. Because it's not a problem, it's an opportunity if you can anticipate a problem. All right, a situation that others would consider problematic. Here is from the comment section of a video I was watching. It's a simple comment, but it really says a lot. The fact that you realize your own ignorance shows you are pretty smart. So there's some people out there that think that this is the way I've always been. I'm stuck in my ways. I've always been this way. I've always been right. I've always been right. That's not realizing, you know, you're ignorant then. I mean, you basically never change. If you can say I was wrong, I was ignorant. I wasn't back when I was 21. I was ignorant. I didn't understand everything back then. Back when I was 25 and when I was 27 or whatever you want to say, 25, and I was dating that girl, and I thought that we had the best relationship, and now I look back and she might have been, you know, doing something on the side. I was ignorant. I wasn't right. I wasn't the master of women that I thought I was. But I've learned from that. So that when you can admit that you were wrong, that you were mistaken in the past, it shows that you are intelligent, that you can move on, that you can build upon, and you can learn, and you can study, and you can analyze, and you can try to aim to be better, okay? If you're a person that's just like, I'm perfect, I'm not changing, I've always been right, you're ignorant. You can't, if you can't even realize that, you're not as smart as you think you are, dude. All right. So the things you learn in comment sections, pound that like buttons. like button. All right, so I mentioned in the notes section the Jewish holiday of Tisha B'Av, which is Hebrew for the 9th of Av, which is the month of Av in the Hebrew calendar. That starts here in Edmonton at 9:47 tonight. It's 9:17 right now, and it'll last till 10:33 tomorrow night. And so it's like 25 hours basically. And during those 25 hours, Jewish people do not drink or eat or have sexual relations and some other things. And this is there are a number of fast days during the Jewish year. I think there are 5 or 6. Only 2 of them are 25 hours, and only 2 of them you abstain from sex also. And those are Tisha B'Av, which is going to start in a half hour, and Yom Kippur, which most of you are familiar with. But this holiday celebrates, it recognizes the destruction of the first and the second temple in Jerusalem. And of course, we do know that one day the third temple will be built on the site of the first and the second temple in the eternal Jewish city of Jerusalem. But today, and many bad things have happened on the 9th of Av in the history of Judaism. It's not just the first and second temple being destroyed. The Jews were expelled from Spain on that day. The Jews were expelled from England on that day. And there are other things. The Nazis actually picked that day for certain expulsions. They picked it on purpose, of course, because they were master manipulators. They propagandists. They were propagandists, and so they would pick. It would be, to pick a day like this the saddest day of the Jewish calendar to do something bad to the Jews. Well, that's how you get over on the Jews. That's how you really nail it into them. But when we look back and we see that we survived them, it's kind of awesome. But anyway, it kind of backfired on them as they didn't survive. But so anyway, the point of the holiday is to mourn. So I'm not going to be eating. I'm not going to be drinking. And so there's a little bit of, so after the show, again, when I'm talking like this now for what it's been, like a half hour, my mouth gets dry. So I'm going to drink a lot of water beforehand, and then whatever, it's obviously easy for me to fast for 25 hours. But the water part, again, it's only those Jewish fast that you don't drink water on. If you're doing intermittent fasting, yes, you drink water when you're doing intermittent fasting. So also I have a rule, and we're going into the health, and I link to the Chabad explanation of Tisha B'Av. So all of you can see the historical importance of it, or the other bad things that have happened to the Jews on this date, the customs that are involved. It is linked to below, because I'm sure some of you are curious about it. And Chabad is the best source of Jewish information out there, Chabad.org. Again, it's linked to below. But if you ever have questions, again, we had a full 2 years ago talking about the Shemitah, what that was, and I linked to the Chabad explanation explaining what the Shemitah was, which was nothing what this jackal was saying it was. Oh my God, the people who fell for that, I feel terrible for the people who fell for that nonsense, and who still fall for Shemitah, guy. It's unbelievable. People still fall for it. Anyway, the point is, check that out. But health-wise, my intermittent fasting, as everybody knows, I fast at least 22 hours every single day. And part of my thing is my eating window can only be between noon and 9. So Tisha B'Av is going to end at 10:33 at night tomorrow. So when it ends, I'll drink some water. I'll hydrate, but I won't eat. So I won't eat until the next day. So it'll be, for me, I won't eat for about at least 42 hours, which is something I do all the time. I fast at least 42 hours at least 14 times a year. If not 20 times a year. I keep track of all this stuff. And I do my twice a year, 72-hour fast. We can get into that into another show. And you can check out the Beyond Bitcoin shows of the past where I talked about this fasting. I know a lot of people are interested in this type of stuff. So finally, pound that like button. I will be in Philadelphia, August 18th. CryptoCoinCon.com. It's linked to below. The $45 Meister ticket is below. I'm going to be in Hollywood on August the 11th. We're going to have an event in Hollywood at a bar somewhere. There's a young lady putting it on. She seems really cool and everything. She hasn't found the venue yet. I mean, if we just don't meet at a bar, whatever bar in Hollywood, or I'm going to be staying around Hollywood somewhere. So it's, you know, somewhere I can walk or whatever. But I'll be back in LA between the 10th and the 17th or something like that. So who knows what else might go on. I love being in LA. It's always a pleasure. So I'll be in Hollywood on the 11th. We'll have an event on the 11th. It'll be very informal. I love those type of things. I mean, maybe we'll all hang out in a park or something like that. In not Echo Park, in Silver Lake. There's a really nice park in Silver Lake that I like to hang out there. I like to run over there and stuff. I mean, I would just hang out there, have an outside Bitcoin event. That would be fun. Okay, that's it. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the notes section below. And yeah, learn about Tisha B'Av. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.